So Clone High, when it was originally out back in 2002/3, was cancelled, but had a niche following and has garnered quite a niche following since then. It was cancelled, however, not because the network cancelled it, but because there was a hunger strike because of what was depicted in the animation show, namely something to do with Gandhi. And so the network shut it down and nothing was heard about it until now, where we have not a reboot but a continuation of the story. And the way they explain all what has happened to our characters is brilliant. They are very kind of facing what has happened, but also dealing with the issues, especially that Gandhi issue, and sidestepping it, and then giving us kind of these characters having to come to an understanding of where they've been for the last 20 years and how they have to deal with that. Is it worth your time? Let's talk about it. Clone High is about historical figures who have been cloned and placed back in high school, including Abraham Lincoln, Cleopatra, Joan of Arc, John F. Kennedy, and more, as they face the trials of normal teenage life. So I really like the idea of what they've done here. Instead of doing the same thing and trying to recreate the nostalgia of what happened 20 years ago, they've taken those characters and placed them and made them fishes out of water, even though they are still those same characters. And that even makes it more interesting because you have your characters that are sexist. You have your characters that don't know how to deal with things back in 2002, but putting them in today's society, the way people speak, the way teenagers are more aware of things, putting them in that zone is interesting. Abe is still infatuated with Cleopatra, but JFK tries to show off who he is, and that's where we start with our characters kind of being our characters, and then seeing how they do or deal with technology. All the issues like being cancelled is literally what one of the first episodes talks about. It's part of a theme of them trying to come to terms with what this world is now. It's very interesting, but at the same time, I do think some people will have issues with what they've done with it. I think it's great. I think it isn't preachy, but it does kind of show a lens. It's like a reflection back at society of what it was then and what it is now, and it is genuinely quite funny at times. I love the animation style. They've taken what they looked back then but made it okay for now, because obviously animation has come a long way. It's still written by Phil Lord and Chris Miller, and we have all the returning originals when it comes to the creative team back, and they've decided not to recreate what worked then but take what worked then and do its own thing this time. And I think because of that, they've managed to find a sweet spot of taking a character and a show that was cancelled so many years ago because of a thing that was quite bad, and then manage to resurrect it, make it funny, address the issues, and still make it about what it was about originally. And we have those tongue-in-cheek characters. We have those characters that are very literal. We have those characters that are so over the top, and we have those characters that are stupid. And because they're historical figures, that makes what they're saying even funnier. Even though they're not the originals, they're clones of those historical figures. So all that baggage that comes along with who they should be or who their original is like is interesting how they write that into the storyline of your typical teenage dramas, of the love triangles that they have, of the bullying, and now technology. You know, all of that comes into play with these individual episode storylines. With a love story arc that continues, you are definitely gonna have your favorite characters, but at the same time I think you might have a few new ones. Thinking I would enjoy it as much as I did, but it's actually very good and has a longevity feel to it. Like, this was always the thing that it was going to be. Even though we've picked up 20 years later, I could see there being more. So let me know your thoughts down below. Were you a fan of the original? Had you ever heard of it? Are you going to go back and check out the original season? For me, I think this is solid. I'm going to give this 4 Nicolas Cages out of 5.
And you got one. Congratulations.
Thanks so much for watching, but most of all, until next time, remember, live long and Tuesday.